Evening, everyone. It's 5:54 on Tuesday afternoon, the 15th of February, and this is your closing comment video number 1151. Okay, so we had the PPI today, which came in twice as bad as was expected, twice as hot as it was expected, um, up 1% versus expectations of up a half a percent. X Food and Energy, for those who don't drink or drive or eat, um, up 0.8 tenths versus zero point 0.4. On a year over year basis, 9.7%, and X Food and Energy up 8.3%. 9.7 is close to an all time record. For X Food and Energy, 8.3 is a tie of that record. Empire State Manufacturing Index 3.1 versus an expectation four times higher than that of 12. Beyond that, the markets were very strong on what looks like Putin saying we're not going to invade yet, and everybody knows what a stand-up guy he is. So the market was strong. Biden came out and talked about it this afternoon, and we know how competent he is. So I don't really put much faith in either of them. Uh, News-wise, we had Intel buying uh, TSEM, and that deal is at $53 a share. The stock did close 48.42, up 84. That's the Intel. It was actually down this morning. As far as the acquired, we had a pretty strong day. We closed at 46.87, up 13.74, or 41%. So just so you understand, Tower is an Israeli company, and the deal is somewhere between 5.4 and 6 billion. We also had earnings this morning from Marriott. They were a huge beat. The stock closed the day 181.20, up 8.97, or 5.8%. After the close, we had Roblox, which was a miss. Expectations, I guess, were high. The stock closed 73.30, up 4.98. Afterwards, it traded all the way down to 59.15, and the last that I have here is 63.40. Let me just make sure. The last is 62.42, and that's down 5.90, or 8.67. We also had Toast, which is a point of sale for restaurants. It too was up, also a miss, a little bit larger loss than was expected. It had closed 28.12, up 68 cents, traded down to 23. Last is 24.64, down 2.80, or a little over 10%. And Airbnb was a pretty solid beat. It was up on the day, closed 180.7 in regular trading, up 1041, but after the earnings traded as high as 195. Last is 187.90. That's up 1820, up about 10.7%. So that one almost doubled the move of the day. Stocks were higher all day. Dow closed up 422.67, 1.2%. The biggest winner, though, was the Russell, up 55.67, or 2.75%, followed closely by the mega cap and FANG heavy names in the NASDAQ, up 348.84, or 2.53. S&P put on a pretty good showing, up 69.40, up 1.58%. And the transports, which were the only thing that was up yesterday, and they were substantial, added another 93 today, or 0.62%. The VIX was down, um, but not a lot. I mean, it closed at 2570. Remember that on Friday it closed the day a teenager, I think, or Wednesday of last week, under 20. And so today's 2570 was down 263 or 9%, but that is still a reasonably high reading. Clearly the market is not complacent here anymore. So we'll have to be on top of that. As far as futures go, the chart on the screen is nat gas. Oil was down over $3. 92.07 after trading as low as 90.66. It finished down 339. um, the nat gas, however, was up the entire day, and as you can see, it closed. This is the highest close since it broke down here a little over a week ago, when it broke from, let's see, it was down 31 cents that day at 457 and change. So we had a higher low and a higher high by a long way. I think that we can get back and close this gap. The gap is between 446.80 and 448.70. So a move back up into that gap would be helpful. We're also above all of the moving averages here. The only one that we're not above is the red line, which is the 100-day. This is the 5, 20, 50 and 200-day moving averages. So we'll see how that works. But the UNG calls that we own between 89 and 92 cents closed today at $1.53, and that was up 31 cents. So that's a pretty healthy profit. I'm going to guess that if we continue up in the morning, we'll lose the first half of that on the 100% up rule. Bitcoin was also strong. The gold was down pretty basically on interest rates. The bonds were down about a point, and the 10-year was solidly above 2%, and that is generally not good news for the precious metals, even though the PPI shows some pretty strong inflation. We bought a position in the silver, the leveraged silver long. And it was down here when we bought them this morning. It was down around 23.10 or so, which, as far as I was concerned, is into some pretty decent support. We paid $1.40 for them. They closed, I think, $1.60. So nothing overwhelming, but nonetheless a good way to start the position. The dollar was down 36 cents. As I said, the nat gas was up, and the silver that we bought down about 77 finished down 50. So we'll have to see overnight how that looks. I'll be back first thing in the morning. Have a good evening.